Hi everyone and welcome. Today let's bake a strawberry crostata. It is an Italian jam pie or tart. I learned about crostata only recently when reading a fiction book where a delicious crostata was baked. So I decided to try it out and will share my lessons learned with you at the end of the video. To make the crostata, we will need to make pasta frolla, which is Italian shortcrust dough made with flour, sugar, butter, eggs, egg yolks, baking powder, and lemon zest. Let's start by sifting 325 grams of flour into a larger bowl. Add to it 130 grams of sugar, half a teaspoon of baking powder, zest of 1 lemon or orange. I am using orange zest as I have oranges in the jam, which I will use for the filling. And let's mix the dry ingredients. Let's not forget to add and mix in a pinch of salt. Now let's add 1 whole egg and 2 egg yolks. What I learned is that egg yolks need to be used instead of whole eggs in this dough because the egg yolks will make the dough soft after it's baked, while the whole eggs would make it harder and more dense. Let's also add 1 teaspoon of vanilla and mix the eggs with the flour. Now we need to add 160 grams of unsalted cold butter cut in small cubes and mix all the ingredients as quickly as possible, so as not to warm the butter too much and at the same time not to overwork the dough. I kept the prepared butter in the fridge up to the moment when I need to add it to the dough. I need to use my hands to mix the dough, therefore I wash them in cold water. You can use a mixer if you have a suitable one. Now, when the dough is ready, we need to wrap it and put it in the fridge for a few hours or even better overnight. When allowed to rest, the dough should become more compact and elastic, easier to work with. Let's prepare the tart form now. I will use a form 28 centimeters in diameter with a removable bottom. To make sure I can remove ready crostata from the form without breaking it, I will put parchment paper in the bottom of the form. And I will oil both the parchment paper and the tart form to ensure that the parchment paper sticks to the form and does not move when I'm inserting the dough in it. I will sprinkle a little bit of flour on the kitchen countertop and remove the dough from the fridge. It has hardened, but it is not completely stiff. Now I will cut off approximately 1/4 of the dough. I will use this piece later for the stripes to put on top of the pie. Wrap the piece and put it back in the fridge. I need to roll the dough thin now, in the size of the tart form. I don't want to risk it sticking to the kitchen countertop, therefore I will roll it between 2 pieces of parchment paper. First, I will oil the sides of the parchment paper, which will touch the dough. And it's time to roll the dough. To make sure it's rolled in a circle big enough, I will check it with the help of the tart form. It looks fine. The dough will cover the bottom and will be enough to form the sides of the pie. Let's remove the parchment paper on top and flip the dough with the help of the remaining parchment paper on top of the tart form. And now gently fold the sides inside the form and remove the parchment paper. The dough has softened and is thin, therefore I need to be careful and patient. I will fold the little bit of dough which goes out of the tart form towards the inside. And put the dough with the tart form in the fridge to rest and stiffen for a few minutes while I'm heating up the oven. Let's put the oven to heat to 180 degrees Celsius or 400 degrees Fahrenheit. I will pinch the bottom of the tart with a fork, even though I read that it is not needed, so it's more of a habit. And put approximately 400 grams of jam in the tart and level it to cover the whole bottom. I am using homemade strawberry and orange jam, which has a lot of pieces of fruit and less sugar than store-bought jams. You can use the jam you like. As the jam layer is not very thick, I will fold the sides of the tart a little down. Now I will roll the remaining piece of dough between a piece of parchment paper to cut and put strips of dough over the pie. And put the pie in the oven to bake for about 30 to 40 minutes till it looks golden brown and cooked through. It's time to remove the crostata from the oven. The jam is still bubbling and the tempting pastry and strawberry smell fills the whole house. But we need to let it completely cool before removing it from the form, cutting and enjoying. The ready crostata is crumbly, buttery, fruity, very delicious. Now to my conclusions after making crostata for the first time. Crostata looks beautiful without much effort and tastes delicious, so I will definitely be making it again and I will try it out with different fillings. Even though the end result might seem very simple, the dough is a little tricky to make and handle, especially when doing it for the first time. But I don't want to discourage you from trying. As with many things, the more we try, the better the outcome. If the dough felt too soft to handle, I put it in the fridge or freeze it for a few minutes for it to harden a bit and become easier to handle. It might not be the correct way, but it helped me a lot. Now, thank you for joining me today. Let me know if you make crostata and how it turned out for you. And I'll see you next week. Bye!